Hola. Welcome to episode 41 of Word to Your Mama. I'm R.I.P. Today we have two special guests. We have DJ Bonds and DJ Breeze. They're here to talk about their new documentary that releases tomorrow, August 24th on all platforms, entitled Where We're From, Rise of LA Underground Hip Hop, The Elements documentary. Some of you may or may not know that I've been working in the music industry for a long ass time. Mostly, the majority of it was concert marketing. But before that, I was an intern at the world famous Wake Up Show, and I was also doing underground hip hop publicity and promotions. So I just graduated Long Beach State, moved up, was living on my own for the first time in LA. Shout out K-Town. And I was just finding my footing in the LA underground hip hop scene. So, I started going to all these different types of events. The biggest one at the time was Bigga B, R.I.P, Unity events. And those that ended. And then I started going to the homies Bonds, Breeze, C Los, the Elements events. And it was a weekly club where you could go as a B-boy, B-girl, get in the circle, battle. You could, as an MC, you can go up and every week there'll be an MC battle. You win money. I maybe didn't start doing that, but it was like all nothing but on some real hip hop shit. And it was a place for someone like me, someone that really didn't know anyone at the time, that was just meeting people and getting into the scene, to feel pretty safe to go to a hip hop spot as a woman, solo or just with one other person. And in this episode, we talk about their journey directing and producing this documentary, how the pandemic impacted their film's release. They've been working on this for a long time, folks, since 2015. So, you hear about the trials and tribulations of that, about how, they want LA, the underground LA hip hop scene to be known during that time for more than just gangster rap. They talk about dealing with trying to get clearances for those songs. We all know how that must have been crazy. Also about how DJ Revolution scored the entire film. They talk about what they learned looking back, what they want people to get from this film. And also they just talking about just respect for hip hop promoters all around, because they weren't doing it for the money. You know what I'm saying? So I think this is really a story of how creatives, how they turned and evolved into storytellers. So yeah, let's get into it. I'll cut out the beginning part. But I just want to start off by saying or asking, how are you guys doing? How have you guys been?
Doing great.
This past, since the pandemic hit, how have you guys been?
I mean, I'm good. We're good. I mean, I'm good. Just staying busy. Definitely, as it's impacted everybody. So we had a lot of things on the agenda for the film, but obviously it was interrupted. Mm-hmm. So I have a varied opinion on it, because I was actually working with COVID patients 5 days a week.
Oh,
so as a 9 to 5 thing. So, I tend to, have form my own opinion about that. So, but
I'm sure.
Yeah. But I don't know. I've always been a homebody. So, I've always been a homebody. So I was kind of like, well, I'm at home anyway, So but I mean, the film itself has kept us busy, for years. So, we this thing was a 4 or 5 year journey for us. Yeah. So, and we're talking, I would talk to Bonds, and I would see Bonds more than I saw my lady. So, we were busy with this. We were busy.
So the voice you're hearing is Breeze, is DJ Breeze. And then over here we have DJ Bonds. And so how did you fare this past since I guess March 2020?
yeah, there are moments where I could be definitely frustrated. Like I had this planned and I had that
Yeah.
planned. And we were gonna go to Europe, and like we had all kinds of things, quote unquote, set up. But I kind of choose to look at the positives of it.
Great.
There was this new Twitch world that got discovered for DJs, right? So I could, make a couple $100 in a night and not leave my bedroom. And
Nice.
not drink and drive. And the bartender is right next to me because it's me and I'm pouring. And, so there were to me, some positives, to it, the way I get down. I said to say we definitely spent more time with kids, right? We definitely spend more time with our loved ones, and being a single, or only child, being an only child, I'm responsible for my parents straight up and down. So from grocery shopping to whatever, to managing like basically two households, you know what I'm saying? Making sure everyone's taken care of. So there's obviously responsibilities there, but there's also a beautiful thing about that. You know what I'm saying? Knowing that and owning it, So.
Yeah, for sure. All right, fellas. So let's talk about one of the main reasons why you're here. And we'll talk about your guys' lives and everything like that. But let's talk about the film.
Okay.
This airs the day before because it goes off it streams the 24th, correct?
Yes.
August
coming out
24th.
this Tuesday. Yep. Tuesday, August 24th. Yep.
August 24th. So I've always known it as the Elements documentary, but why don't you tell the folks the full-blown name of this documentary?
Well, the film is called Where We're From, Rise of LA Underground. And excuse me, when it was Bonds who came with the idea, who it's usually him who really is like, no, we're gonna do it. It takes it from the idea to the manifestation. But originally we were like, okay, we're gonna talk about Elements, when what we did, because we're seeing footage of our shows in other documentaries, and there's no mention of anything. There's no mention of the city, nothing, where it took place. So, obviously I'm paraphrasing here. The story is a little longer, but as we're making the film, we started, we're like, this is bigger than us.
Yeah.
And so we're like, we have to mention unity. We have to mention Water the Bush, Brown Rice and Barbecue, places that we used to go to, places that influenced us. And we wanted people to walk away knowing the names Unity or Bigga B or Rob One or DJ Dusk. Rest in peace to those three gentlemen. But it's a period piece of, as well as I do, is hip hop was already established, hip hop was going on, and we've already covered that. Let's talk about this particular era where the West Coast LA Underground was really coming into its own.
Yeah.
Firsthand as well as I do. And not just that, but we were straying away from that image of just gangster rap. And then you also had this independent label scene. A lot of the early stuff was on major labels. A lot of the stuff out here was ABB, Stone's Throw, Good Vibe. So it was a very important time in hip hop, not just for LA, but I think for independent artists as well. And we were the stage for them. We became a weekly club and then the bigger stage for them eventually. So, and we were like, this story needs to be told because you're still seeing the influence of that in the rest of the world. So
till this day, like you said,
exactly.
Your, footage from your guys' events are seen and people have seen it without even knowing it, without any recognition. And, I want everyone to go see this film, support, learn, especially if you were around those times. Let me just tell you, it was like, I hit on my homeboy Dave. I don't know if you remember Dave. I used to hang around with him all the time.
I do remember Dave. Yeah.
Yeah. And I was like, yo, I'm watching this shit. I go, we're probably at every fucking one of those shows, like in the crowd, stage left was our shit, And I was like, it seems like yesterday, but at the same time, a lifetime ago. So especially if you're from LA and you were in those scenes, it's like a time capsule. It takes you back. It reminds you of like going to something recent, like the Locks Dipset shit.
Yeah.
Like, you know, and
it was like that every week.
and like Fat Joe, yeah, right? And like Fat Joe talking about it, like he wanted to be there because it was history. He wanted to be up in there and watching your shit. I was like, I was there. I was there. I was there. Because it's a different feeling, right? Like I was so excited that I got to witness the Locks Dipset shit, the history making shit online. But I'm sure, you know, to be there was next level crazy, especially because of fucking pandemic. But you know what I mean? But you know, to experience and witness that history, and there's a lot that you guys, you know, provide the whole scene, the history. I feel that people are going to be blown away by the fact they're maybe not knowing the impact of LA hip hop during that time. The impact of you guys. I mean, I've known you guys for forever, and I also didn't know, you know, without giving anything away, because I want everyone to watch the doc, but like behind the scenes shit and the trials and tribulations of what you guys were going, you know, because I was just like new up in the scene, and I was just like going to these events, like, and I didn't know. I was like, damn, of course that shit would happen. Like, of course. You know, like it's being older, you know, a lifetime, you know, older, and knowing what goes into shit now, you know, and just really thank you. I just want to say a couple of things. First and foremost, felicidades for even getting something made, right? Because not everyone, people have ideas, and not everyone, like you said, manifests to the next level.
Yeah.
Second of all, to finally have it come out, because I know there's been, you know, false starts or because of different situations. And I wanted to kind of, if you wanted to share a little bit of what took so long to come out, because people need to understand it's hard as fuck. Making a documentary.
Yeah. I think Bonds can answer this pretty good.
Yeah, and I'm down to share. I don't think we really shared this with any other interviews. So like we could go there. You know what I mean? But
whatever you're comfortable with. Like
we
you don't have to.
Make a doc on making a doc at this point. But you know,
Indeed.
Yeah. So we hit the ground running really hard in 2015, and we went like 2 years strong of interviewing a lot of people. And it got to the point of taking a breath and stopping and saying, okay, well, what really is the story? And we had like a lot of different like little clips that stayed to this day in the actual doc. But as we kept sharing these clips that were kind of like well put together, like these little puzzles, at some point people were like, when I say people, I'm talking like mentors, like other directors, like Dr. Rachel Raimist, or like Tad Nakamura or David Massey. And, you know, there was different folks who kind of held our hands at times and just said, yo, it's time to tell your story. Like, it's nice showing Tyler Crowley's first performance ever and getting his reaction and all that. But at some point, you got to bring people into what happened with you guys, specifically what happened. And so, you know, it gets personal at times, right? And so, you know, we practice literally putting cameras on us at the crib and just, you know, saying the story out loud, you know, and some stuff, you know, we hadn't talked in so long. Me and Bree's like, we hadn't aired it out, put it like that. We pieced, you know what I'm saying? But there was, you know, I'm not there at his interview. He's not there at my interview. And I was like, oh, okay. Oh, you felt that way. You know what I'm saying? It was peace. You know what I'm saying? You know, that's my brother. I love him. You know what I'm saying? So, so some of it was just making the doc flat out. And then you get into the thing of like, oh yeah, we can't really clear that sample, huh? Oh yeah, he doesn't even own his damn masters, huh? You know, like, and so you go down this rabbit hole of trying to make really a musical documentary, right? You know, and have it be dope, you know?
Yeah.
And so Stretch and Bobbito came out with a documentary called Radio Changed Lives, right? Around 2015, 2016, roughly. We went to the premiere, talked to Bobbito outside, and he was like, "You was my lawyer." You know, because I was like, how the fuck you get all this music cleared and what the fuck you do and da-da-da. And he was like, hit my lawyer up. And so long story short, she wasn't able to do it first because she was retiring, but her protege came on board and really helped us guide us through all the legal stuff that we had to do to make it happen. So some of it's legal, some of it's just creative process. And then the last part is the pandemic, because we would have literally been probably touring from, I think April in 2020 is when we were supposed to go to George Washington University and do like, you know, our first kind of talk to people in class. And then we had like a bunch of dates set up after that, go to New York, jump on a plane and go to Europe. Like that, like we had some set plans and, you know, obviously just like the rest of the world.
Yeah.
You know, things put on pause, you know, So
that leads me to the next thing I wanted to talk about. I saw you guys just did a post, and I'm going to have, for everything we talk about here, I'm going to have links in the show notes as always, but I'm definitely going to have a link to, what would you call it? The Elements theme by DJ Revolution and Planet Asia. And so talk about how you guys decided, probably because of the clearance issue too, like let's get, why DJ Revolution? DJ Revolution, if you guys are any type of hip hop fan, you guys should definitely know who DJ Revolution is. And how did that come about?
Well, even when we were doing Elements, Wake Up Show was always like, whenever you want. I would go up there and I would hand the flyer to Sway and he would look at me like, he's like, I'm putting you on. He's like, get in the chair and you talk. I'm not announcing your stuff. So it was always like love like that. And Rev used to play at our shows. So, like when Bonds was saying, when we started learning about copyrights and those type of things and what's fair use and what's not, it was kind of a no-brainer to ask Rev to score the film, and he already has experience with that. So he's a producer, you know, outside of hip hop. So and he knocked it out of the park. I mean, he ended up just you know, that's what I like. It's at first I was a little disappointed that we don't get to use this certain song. But then when I watched it with his music, I was like, wow, it has a feel all its own
fits.
now.
It fits.
Yeah. And so when Bonds brought up the theme song, you know, like I said in the post, we talked about a few people, you know, and then we were like, duh. We were like, it has to be Rev and it has to be Asia, because Asia, he was already established when Elements, but he used to come up there all the time just simply because he enjoyed it. It wasn't like he was trying to he just really liked going there. And you'll see in the film, like he lights up when he talks about it.
He does.
So after a while, Bonds and I were like, duh, like it's a no-brainer. Like it has to be Asian Rev, you know?
Yeah,
and
it came out dope.
They killed it. And then that beat it's not a sample. That's Rev, you know?
I know
that's you know.
It's amazing. I listened to it today. Like I listened to the full-blown shit with Planet Asia. And then as I was prepping for different shit today, just the instrumental. So all this is available. You can get it like with Planet Asia,
Spotify,
but also the
iTunes. Yep.
The instrumental is just like like quality. How is DJ Revolution doing? He's doing okay. He said he produces and stuff outside.
Yeah. Bonds, you want
to? No, he keeps it busy. You know, he keeps it busy and moving, and you know, I'm thankful that he made 63 beats for us.
Damn.
You know, when you get down to it, and it's like he's like, "Yo, it's yours. Whatever you want to do with it." I'm like, "Well,
that's amazing.
Let's talk about putting on some music then." You know what I mean? Because he's like, you know, we had several conversations about like, you know, he's like, Bonds, you know, some of the shit's dope, man. Like put an MC on it type shit, you know? Yeah. And so we figured out what the business and the math would be. And we just, you know, I've been knowing him for decades. You know, my birthday's March 25th. His birthday's March 26th. I can't tell you how many times we brought birthday parties together, right? You know what I'm saying? So that's my brother.
Aries, right? You guys are Aries.
Yeah, Aries, some Aries shit. So we very Aries with it. So I get him and he gets me, and you know, short conversation, just, you know, we get to the point, you know, that kind of thing, that Aries shit. But so at the end of the day, like definitely saved us, you know, as far as like the quality of work that he did and all that. And then it's kind of exciting, like putting that song out today. Like I can't even tell you how like it was a real moment. You know, we got into this thing really on some music, like making music, right? You know, Breeze is the producer, I'm the DJ, and we come up to an MC with like a product, you know what I'm saying? And we had like several artists back in like 97, 98 or whatever, before going into Elements. So Elements became the stage for us to have our own folks, perform, right? And somehow we became fucking promoters, but really we were just trying to get our own fucking MC some shine, right?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So it's just kind of crazy. It goes full circle 20 years later to actually finally put out some shit. You know what I'm saying?
That's crazy. So and I said earlier about, maybe it's described in a different way, but do you guys feel that you guys started in 2015, you guys worked, and maybe there's different points since then that you wanted to release it, but for whatever reason, different reasons, the elements, if you will, wouldn't allow that. Do you guys both feel that it all is supposed to happen the way it's supposed to happen, and this is it now?
I mean, yeah, I think so. It always does. I mean, even everything the way that happened back then, all the turmoil and all the craziness and whatever, it wouldn't we wouldn't be making a film about it 20 years later, if it didn't go that way. It just it is what it is, So even when this COVID thing hit, we pretty much took it in stride too. We were just kind of like, we know what we have here. We know what we have is gold, and it's just a matter of time. So, and then, maybe if it would have came out sooner, we wouldn't have had Rev score the film. Maybe it would have been a different. So there's things like that I think about. So yeah, everything happens in its own time. I remember when we started, I told Bonds, I told him it's going to take about 4 years.
I was like, fuck that.
Yeah, he was like, no, 1 to 2 years, and I was like, dear brother, that's not going to be. And so I'm not entirely. And plus, I've never directed before. He's never directed before. I already told him, like, bro, from here on out, it's just icing on the cake.
Yeah.
Like I already feel like $1 million right now just because of being able to accomplish it and finish it. And I was like, and now, Shout Studios picks it up, and I'm like, the world gets to see it. I'm like, that's
I was huge,
like, I already felt successful when we finished the film. I was like, I almost didn't care if it came out. I did, but I was like, bro, we finished a film. Like, I never thought I would do that. And to do it with one of your good friends, it's a bonus. But then people saw the private screening, and they were like, "Oh, this is really good." And then good enough to obviously put out. Thank you, Shout Studios, everybody.
But you know what? When Shout when Shout said, "Hey, your release date is going to be August 24th," and I said, "8/24, Kobe Day."
Yeah.
And that's when it all came from.
Signs, symbols include.
Yo, we're so LA. We put out LA Hip Hop Doc on Kobe Day. You can't even.
Come on.
Come on.
It's meant to be. There's the answer. There's a fucking answer right there.
You know where it was meant to be is actually with Rachel. Because Bonds had found a box of VHS tapes with Elements footage, right?
Mm-hmm.
And his wheels are already turning then. But I know in my head, I'm like, that's not enough for a film. And then he gets a hold of Rachel, and Rachel sends him a picture of a box of just 3 or 4 rows of tapes, and they're all our shows.
Damn.
And that's when I was like, that's the universe talking right there.
That's signs, symbols, and clues.
I was like, now it's going to happen. Now we have a film. So yeah, but she big up to Rachel.
And he's talking about Dr. Rachel Raimist, who I had over here already, I think episode 5 or 6. And when we talk about that rap life, we're talking about, it includes these fine fellows here, but they were not the ones who caused this grief.
She was walking around with a camera before it was trendy.
Yep. One of the only females up in the mix. Yep. She's rap life for sure. Yeah. And I also wanted to say, you mentioned it earlier, but I think people are going to be pleasantly surprised that you mentioned, and it's in the film, how you you don't only just talk about yourselves and Elements and your guys' story. You give props of like how you got to that point by honoring those that paved the way. You do a really good, like longer than probably most people would even do, I feel. And I appreciate that. And I feel that those that were in the scene and that also went to, the Bigga B, the unities and all that stuff like that are gonna, I feel like it sets the tone to be like, these guys love what they do, love what they did, love the city, love the scene, and want to really document it in a good way. So props to that for sure. Also, shout out to Mecca Don C Los.
Yes.
Yeah.
Mecca Don C Los.
My Salvadorian brother.
Because like I said, like I'm going to the events. I know you guys, but I don't know the intricacies of what the company and who's part of it. So I was like, oh shit.
We didn't call him. Yeah, no, we did not call him the Mecca Don for nothing. we used to call him the Godfather. I used to tell him, like, I don't know why I answer the phone. Every call is for you. And Silos gave me my start, actually. I got to give him that. And I've said this before on record, so I'll say it again. He gave me my start because he's the one who hired me at Fat Beats. And I was literally, Elements hadn't started yet. I wasn't DJing. I was just barely making beats. And he hired me at Fat Beats and he had no reason to. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
He had no reason about it. Maybe he saw something or, whatever. Not only does he hire me, he hires me as the assistant buyer.
Nice.
So I go from just being a fan to now I'm calling distributors, dealing with the artists directly. And my life changed right after that.
Yeah.
Everything changed after. That's when I started getting the free records, the free shoes, the free hoodies. And then that's when, not too long after that is when Bonds and I started Elements. Then I got, on KPFK. And so it was actually Los who got my foot in the door. Because I wasn't doing anything before. I was just a fan. I was just buying records and living that life. And he was like, you want to work here? And I was like, yeah.
That's crazy. Mecca Don C Los.
Yeah.
So let's get back. I know you guys I've known you guys forever. And I was trying to remember how we met. And I can't remember. Like, is it the Wake Up Show? Was it the Fat Beats? Like, I don't know.
I don't remember. No, I don't remember. It could have been Wake Up Show.
Yeah, because I was an intern there, so I would see you guys all the time. I don't know.
It might have been Wake Up Show for me, but because I remember you weren't you at Hits Magazine?
Yes, I was. Yeah, good memory. I was at Hits Magazine. Yep, Hits Magazine and interning at the Wake Up Show at the same time. Yeah, and then I'll just see you guys. Was it like at Frank Sosa and Chris Vargas's place with Al Jackson? Remember that shit?
Malathion?
Yeah, Malathion.
Yeah.
Oh my God. That just quickly, I mean, because we could talk forever about that, man. That killed me when Al passed.
It did. It did. I hadn't felt like that since Dusk.
Yeah. Yeah.
I was like, are you kidding me? Like, I just talked to you.
I know. Same.
I just talked to him in December he hit me up for my birthday.
Same.
And I was like, are you? Yeah. Actually, it was Bonds who texted me, I think, the news.
Do you want to support original content that supports diverse voices? Why not support Word to Your Mama? You're listening to it right now. Become a patron. Head over to patreon.com/WTYM. There are 4 patron levels to choose from, including Good Looking Out, I'm Down, Hell Yeah, and Please Believe It. Benefits include patron shoutouts, exclusive patron-only content, and so much more. Head on over to patreon.com/WTYM to take your support to the next level. Gracias.
And I didn't believe it. I was like, are you kidding me? I was like, come on.
Yeah, there's no way.
Yeah, there's no way. So, yeah. But, back then, everybody knew everybody.
Yeah, it was just a scene. And
everybody knew everybody.
Yeah, I think going to that and then Wake Up Show. I mean, just going to it was such a, I think that's the community part. Like, you know, we talk about that all the time, whether it's Rachel or Joseph Patel, Jazzbo. It's even if he was in the Bay in that scene, but we were all connected. We were all connected. And he said it's because it's a community, you know?
Well, with Bonds, we were talking about how I've known some of these people for 25 years. And I consider them family, but I couldn't tell you where some of them live or what their favorite color is.
Or their real names.
But it's, exactly. But it's still like that. It's still this, you know, and, you know, you figure out, you know, like it's easy to cheer for good people. And there's a lot of good people in the community. So, you know, you weed out the shady ones and, you support each other as much as you can. Like, you know, firsthand, like, you know, everybody has a life outside of this. Bonds was just touching on it. We all have families and it's a sacrifice for everybody.
Yeah.
It's a sacrifice for everybody. That's for sure.
But I was lucky enough to meet people like you know, people like you guys in the scene that, like you said, like, I haven't seen, like, really talk to you guys in a long time, but I feel like I just saw you guys or something. I don't know. I feel like, you know how, like, they say there's that connection and that bond. I feel like we've all gone through something together.
It's energy. It's the energy. It's like as soon as you meet somebody, you just know if you like them or you don't. So, you know. Yeah.
And I liked you guys for sure.
We met Bonds and I, we met in like high school. And it was just like, oh, what's up? You know, and that was it. You know, it's like, oh yeah, let's go to Unity. Let's go. Okay, let's go. You know, it wasn't, you know, but then come to find out later, like, oh, you know, oh, he's the only child too, and I'm the only child, and then it was like, oh, okay, you can kind of see why we bonded. You know what I'm saying?
Totally.
Because he used to come over my house and scratch over my beats, and you know, I never had anybody do that, so I was like. I thought that was just the coolest freaking thing to see somebody cutting over my shit. And I was just like, oh man, you could stay here all day, dude, and do that, you know? And you know how Latina moms are. It's like, you know, you feed your you know, you feed them and they stay, you know.
Keep them fed.
Yeah. So but yeah, it's a, you know, tight-knit community, that's for sure.
Yeah, and also the I think everyone from that scene, it's like like any place they went to was part of the fabric of their like life, right? The hip hop life and also fat beats. And as I was thinking of watching this and seeing that one interview, what was it for MTV? And you're in Fat Beats.
Yeah. Oh, with Bonds, yeah.
And it's Bonds and it's who else? Rhett and then
Aimee,
right?
Next
So Aimee and I interviewed at the same time for that job.
Oh, damn.
Really?
Yeah. And I couldn't remember did I interview with C Los? I don't think it was C Los. I don't remember who I interviewed with. I was new to the scene, so I didn't know that many people. I just knew, I don't even know how I knew there was a position open. And then they told me I didn't get it. And then I was like, oh, it's okay. I was like, all right. And then she got it, but you know, I love her. And I just started following her again we never got close or anything like that, but I would always see her because there weren't that many females that were consistent and were like in the scene.
Right.
So
not too many people. I don't know if too many people know. I don't think too many people know this, but there's a skit on an Eminem album where it's a crank call to a girl that was done at Fat Beats, and Aimee is that girl.
No
and
way.
It's literally a crank call. It wasn't planned. He literally crank called.
Oh, it's a real, like she was really.
It's a real, yeah. And they recorded it, and I'm like, it's hilarious. So I'm like, well, I was like, you're in hip hop history somehow, you know. That's
real.
To tell her.
That's real.
But so she's literally on the Eminem album, you know, and I mean, they never asked for permission, but she also can't really prove it's her, but we know it's her. It's pretty hilarious. So
that's crazy. So what have you guys, not only you guys made this happen, but you guys are directors and producers. What are some things that you guys have learned being directors and producers that you could take away from this experience?
Oh, you want to chime in first, Bonds?
A lot. Kind of hard to put into words. I mean, I for a time period, I actually went to school for editing. So I could chop up the clips for my own self. A lot of times, I would see a clip, give the editor an idea, it would come back and it wasn't quite right, and then it would take another week or two. So just that process, I wanted to speed it up. So went to school for a couple months for editing and started doing the shit myself. And then I was like, all right, this is what I want. Can you make it better, basically? You know what I mean? And that kind of was a little bit changing for our doc, because it sped things up a little bit faster. I was able to share something with Breeze real quick. He was able to give, his 2 cents. Again, redo it, give it back to him, and then give it to the professional. You know what I mean? To make it. So just our process in filmmaking, you learn some things. And I think for me, on a personal level, I love DJing. I love DJing. But something about interviewing and getting these stories, I fell in love with a new passion of, to be honest with you, I want to keep putting out stories. I want to, there are so many stories out there that talk about, gangster rap and Dre and Puffy and Death Row and Tupac versus Biggie, and shit has been said over and over and over and fucking over again. And at some point, like, I know the fucking story. We get it. There's some other stories out there, that we can talk about, and so I want to kind of shine a light on those stories, because I think they deserve to be heard.
I think what we learned too was, to piggyback on that, there's going to be probably some future stuff, because we didn't get to put everything in the film that we wanted to. And that we learned that as first-time directors, you have to compromise a lot on, and maybe that's why there's a director's cut after, because
right.
There was just so much that we didn't get to put in there because it just didn't fit in the overall context of the film and what we were trying to convey. And, and you have to know what's best for the film. It's not about you. It's not about your ego and all that. And I love how throughout the whole process, like when we watch Bobbito's and Stretch's documentary, it's a really good documentary.
Yeah.
But, Bonds and I kind of agree. We're like, we don't want to look like that. We're like, we don't want the graph credits. We're like, we don't need to sell hip hop. I was like, I want this to be a film. And throughout the whole process, we never lost sight of that. And so we had to think as directors, like, what's best for the film. It's not about what we want to put out, what is best for the film. And the overall idea and what we're trying to convey. So we learned that on the job too.
Yeah. But
I think we did a pretty good job of it.
We also, we maybe had a certain outline, and then we found other stories that we didn't even know we were going to talk about. As Rhett's talking about, being, a DJ, Asian American DJ, Filipino DJ in hip hop. And, and then Orlando was saying his piece about Babu and Rhett. And it's just naturally like, yo, this is a cool little piece, because real talk, my first DJ was Filipino. So like we weren't planning that. It just kind of came about because of the way the interviews went, And so it's segments like that that's like, I get to shine a light on something that maybe, I don't know what hip hop doc has been out there that maybe shine a light on Filipinos like that, or Filipinos, or kind of like Black folks looking a certain way towards Filipinos, and then we got to respect now, because skill is skill regardless.
Yeah.
Once you show your skill, we go, fuck what color you are. You know what I'm saying? And we all know that in hip hop, you know what I'm saying? But just to actually say it, like say the shit out loud and acknowledge it, you know what I'm saying?
Yes.
So, those cool moments,
Yeah, because I had the Ghetto Geppetto, Roy Miles, and he was in the art designer toy space, but he's coming from like someone that loves, and his life is hip hop. And he said, I wanted to do with the same kind of vibe as hip hop, which is that it's inclusive.
Right.
As long as you got the skills and you're doing, like, it's inclusive. You know what I'm saying? I mean, not the essence of what it was back then, that's what it It was, you got the skills. You appreciate. You're one of the. You can do one of the 5, 6 elements, whatever school you're in, of how many elements there are, and then, but it's inclusive. And like you were saying, Bonds, it was like you look at them one way, but then oh shit, bad skills.
Yeah.
So that's all that matters. Come on in, And now look, some of the best. When I tell the Supernatural Bear, like, your uncles are some of the best motherfuckers in the whole wide world. Like, if you ever want to learn, you're going to learn from the motherfucking best.
I'll give you a quick story. I was at Unity. This is pre everything. Okay. This is, I'm not even close to working at Fabby's. And I'm there at the Unity where Keycool and Rhettmatic performed for the first time. And it's 98% black and brown in the audience. All right. And they come out and it just goes quiet. I'm telling you, this is the God's honest truth. You can ask, hold on. Jeez, I'm getting a call. Anyway, back. All right. My better half calling. I'll call you right back, babe. Anyway, so I'm there and this place goes silent, like what? And what are they doing up there? That's what everybody's thinking. But I kid you not, make a long story short, by the end of their show, they had the place rocking.
Now, of course.
And rocking. And I was just like, wow. I think Bonds can touch on it. Like the same thing happened with Pigeon John at Elements. Everybody was kind of like, what? And then by the end of this set, I mean, people's hands were in the air. Like, okay, and it goes back to what he's saying. Skill is skill.
Skill is skill.
Like
it's like Showtime at the Apollo.
Yeah, when it comes to hip hop,
really
skill is skill. That's what it is. That's what it's about. So.
Yeah, like it's like I don't know, but if you can prove yourself in that type of environment with that crowd that's skeptical from jump, then you won.
Yeah,
right.
And
on
not
next
just
level.
You won. It's almost like you won for life.
Yeah,
because
like you won more than just that. Now you won respect.
Yeah, it's a different thing.
Everything now is heart emojis and like this and like that, and some I don't like you. Like some of you, I purposely don't request. I don't keep the little friend request that pops up or whatever. Like man, I don't like you in the street. Why am I going to try to? You know what I mean? Like so, yeah, I keep it 100 sometimes. Yeah, and so it can't all be hearts and likes and shit like that. Some of y'all are whack. So.
One part I definitely want to talk about is I was rolling when the photo of you, Breeze, and Rakaa from Elementary came up. I was dying.
That's gold right there.
That is gold.
Gold.
That's amazing.
I didn't know if I could touch on that, but yeah.
No, that's gold. When I finished the film, because he saw it before, Rakaa saw it before, I ran out. I was like, your picture of you and Breeze. I was crying in tears. He's like, word? And I was like, yeah.
That's from
your little,
my yearbook.
His little,
that is from my yearbook. Yep.
Hilarious.
I've known him since elementary, and we went to junior high together as well. But I was closer to his brother,
to Buddy.
Buddy, yeah, Buddy and I, because Buddy and I are the same age, and so Rakaa's just a little older. But I would still go to their house, and they were just a beautiful family, beautiful family. But this was funny is that after junior high, there's a long gap where I didn't talk to anybody.
Yeah.
And then I hear of Dilated Peoples and I'm like, oh, they're performing so and so. I'm going to go check them out. And I show up there and is Abraham. Abraham is there and he sees me because Abe went to school with us also.
Yeah.
Who, shot J. Stay Paid, who shot everybody in hip hop. Yeah. So shout out to Abe who shot the photos we
shot
have.
Our pictures, for
and also he shot the photos to the Supernatural Bears his doll for when he turned 1 year old and his Korean doll. So he hooked it up.
A phenomenal photographer. Yes. Yeah. And he went to school with us too. So I see Abe and he's like, "You're here to see Rakaa?" And I'm like, no. I'm like, what are you talking about?
I'm here to see Dilated.
And he's like, I'm here to see Dilated. And he's like, that's Rakaa on stage. And I started laughing. I was like, are you kidding me? I was like, are you? So I didn't even know. I didn't know that, Buddy was doing the thing with Exhibit and all that. I didn't know any of that stuff. I was like, what? When did you guys like become cool? Like, what the hell? Like, yeah. So Rakaa sees me after the show, and I mean, he squeezed me till like I almost popped. Like he couldn't believe I was there. So, and since then,
small world. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Every time I bring you up, Fabrizio, like
that's just
love,
right there.
Nothing but love.
Even Bonds can attest to this as well. Like when they got signed to the Capitol thing, and we did the in-store for them at midnight. I don't know if you remember that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I mean, we were all like, we made it. That's how we were. We were so happy for them. Because it felt like our fam has made it.
Yeah.
So we were so geeked to see them do their thing, and still doing it,
And do you like knowing that you guys promoted for Fat Beats, and Fat Beats is originally based out of New York, and you guys talking to other promoters and stuff, were other scenes that nice? Like, do you know what I'm saying? Like that community feel where, Dilated, J5, Visionaries, the Beat Junkies. It didn't matter how, it seemed like from the outside looking in and kind of being in a little bit, it seemed like it didn't matter how big they got. They all just always showed love and never got too Hollywood or too big. Was that, do you feel that was the case here? Or no? Bree's making faces. And I don't know. I wonder if that was the same in other cities like New York and like.
I think it was. I mean, I've been blessed enough to meet some people from the East Coast, like Large Pro and Maceo and El the Sensei, and to me, I think it's the same over there. It seems really tight knit over there too. It seems like everybody's family, over there too, as far as I can tell. Maybe I know Bonds. You want to touch on that?
Yeah, I got probably a different take on it. Just because on the business side of things. So my cousin ended up marrying Anthony Marshall from Lyricist Lounge.
Mm-hmm.
So and DJing his wedding, everything, right? So we have these legacy conversations sometimes because like Lyricist Lounge, that's a thing. That's a legacy, right?
Yep.
So, for Elements, before the doc comes out, like what is your legacy? So we have these talks, about artists and working with rappers and. Yeah, let me make sure I say the right things here. I'm politically correct, but there's how can I say this in the right way?
I love this.
There's definitely the community thing is definitely here. No, in LA that thing is here, right?
Yeah.
But at some point, as your folks that become successful and they get signed and they're getting bigger and bigger and bigger. At some point, sometimes they think they can charge a certain amount of money and it's still the math at the door, and, unfortunately in hip hop, there's not a lot of Black and brown owners. It's a bunch of white boys that want to charge all kinds of crazy rates for hip hop insurance and all kinds of stupid shit at that time, right? Yeah. So you're trying to manage the whole thing of a venue and the business side on that to make sure you can actually be okay, take care of your artist who's now in their mind really, really big. You know what I'm saying? But maybe not big enough for the amount of money they're trying to charge. And then you got people trying to hop the fence to get in your shit or give, weed to the security to sneak in. So, we on the promoter side of things, there's a side of me that's proud of the doc come out just so other promoters are like, yeah, I feel you, motherfucker. I feel
I'm
you.
Sure,
like I get it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
There is a promoter in each city that went through some bullshit to make hip hop happen in their city. And for that, brothers, you guys are loved. You know what I'm saying? You did something for the community. You know what I'm saying? So
respect.
Just something.
Because you weren't making money.
Nah, not in underground hip hop.
Not at
Shit.
all. Not at
Not
all.
really. Not really. It was
No.
very rare that we were on the positive side. There are a lot of times we broke even.
Yeah, there's a lot of break evens.
A lot of break even nights. But walk away
And
with
that's
money,
success,
like,
right? Break
That
even
is.
night.
well,
I mean,
we learned
that's-
that. We learned that, yeah.
Learned
we
that the
learned
hard
that,
way.
yeah. And from other promoters to tell, don't get in it to make money if that's what you want to do.
Yeah, because you really, it seemed like you guys did it for the love. And thank you so much. I appreciate it. We all appreciate it. I think another part of watching this documentary was just seeing the reality of how many we've lost that are in the doc.
Yeah.
So many that we've lost. And I was just like, fuck, you know. But it's great that there's footage of them, that they're included, and that you guys, you know, do honor them.
Yeah.
At the end and within and at the end. And I thought that was a really nice touch, because I was like watching it, taking some notes, and then I was just like, man, like that was it was kind of crazy to see so many.
We touched on people who weren't there, and then we even lost some during. And
exactly.
That's what also is,
yeah,
you know, particularly tough. Like Dave New York, you know,
Biz.
Biz. I was telling Bonds the other day that Dave is really in my thoughts lately. He just really is. And his message popped up on my feed the other day. I was like, oh, geez.
Yeah.
But like with Dusk, for his example, like the DVD that Monticello put out, shout out to B Plus and Coleman.
Coleman, for sure.
Like that's a very still sought after DVD outside of LA. And I'm like, nobody knows anything about him beyond that. And we didn't get to touch on it either, but as much as we wanted to, because you can do a whole episode on Dusk if you really wanted to.
Yeah, you can.
But there's subtle things that Bonds and I did, like that I love. Like we put Dusk in a lot of scenes.
Yes, I noticed that. I made it. I was like a lot of Dusk in there.
Yeah, we did that on purpose because we were like, that's our brother in the movie now.
He's documenting hip hop right there.
Yeah.
You know, you can see him on stage with his camera.
Yeah, definitely. He's in the back right there with his camera. Yep.
And then to lose, you know, Dave and then Biz too, that was just like, oh man. But
and Phife, because Phife was going to interview for
thank you.
And passed away without getting an opportunity to you know, kind of say his side of the story of, you know, working with elements and stuff. So
and to his side of the story of what, I won't give it away, but some real hip hop shit that went down.
Hip-hop shit. Yeah,
some real hip hop shit.
But you know what? I really wanted to have that moment with him because we toured for months together. We became really good, you know, friends. You know what I'm saying?
It's a really good dude. Really good
dude. You know, but like a lot of MCs wouldn't go up there and battle if you had a name, because you could, any given moment you get embarrassed, you know. So they might go to the back patio and do a cipher or whatever, but going up on stage and actually battling, a lot of big time MCs were scared of that because you had the hungrier dudes, you know what I'm saying, with skill sets that in a given moment would take you the fuck out. So, but he was brave enough, you know what I'm saying, to make things happen, you know. So,
and you have to watch the doc to see what happens.
Yeah, to get the whole story.
Yep. Which will be out August 24th.
August 24th. Okay, so let's get into these not so rapid fire questions, aka the slowest hell questions.
We're yours for the night. So what's up?
We'll go. I'll just call on each of you. You guys will both answer these questions. Let's start with Bonds. 3 words to describe yourself.
Caught me off guard with that shit. 3 words to describe myself. Man,
I'm over here stuck too. Like, that's not hip hop. It's not a hip hop question at all.
Let me get my Barack Obama, Will Smith. Let me change it up. My mom. You know, I would say family, music, leadership. I mean, as far as, you know.
There it is. Breeze?
Oh, damn. Uh, strength, loyalty, and determination.
Boom.
Yeah.
Bonds, what's the best piece of advice you received?
No matter if it's a king, they still got to put on their pants one leg at a time. My grandpa was Haile Selassie's right-hand man for years.
Shit.
And managed several different mayors. He was a mayor of several different cities and worked side by side with Selassie for a long time. So although in my mind I had Selassie, our families were pretty tight, but you know, I have this, you know, images and put him in a certain place, and he's still in that place in my mind. You know, he's high up there, obviously, but something about the way he said that I could talk, whether you're a president or CEO, whatever, you're just a man just like me. You put on your pants one leg at a time, just like I do in the morning. So, you know, kind of humanizing it.
Yeah.
The best piece of advice I got. It still sticks to be with me to this day.
Any, you know, you said earlier you wanted to continue to do stories and stuff like that. Any plans to do that story?
Yeah. Yeah. So right now, I want to give too much away, but
of course not. You can just say yes. We keep moving.
Yeah. I do.
Definitely.
And shout out to Uncle Dejane out there in Ethiopia getting footage. So yeah,
that would be amazing.
Yeah.
As soon as you said, I was like, I bet you that motherfucker's doing something that would be dope. You have to, and if you weren't, you had to. Like you had to. Breeze, what's your best piece of advice that you received?
I had a pretty bad, debilitating back injury about 5 years ago.
Oh shit!
And I don't really, you know, do the westernized medicine thing, but I did go to a doctor, and out of all people, a doctor told me just day by day, and that's what I live by. Just day by. I don't worry about tomorrow. I don't dwell in yesterday. I just worry about what I can control today. And since doing that, I'm a little more relaxed. So yeah, just take everything day by day.
He's not trying to fight club owners and get kicked out of Elements.
Exactly.
Ever since then,
it was. Yeah, I need to apologize to a lot of people.
as you know, DJs, producers, hip hop aficionados, this might get interesting. Bonds and Breeze, what are the songs? We'll go with Bonds first. The song that you listen to get you hyped when you need to get hyped, or some motivational shit.
Usually MOP Annie Up. Something about that, and you know, them cussing at me at like 8 o'clock in the morning while I'm drinking coffee or something. You know, something about that will get me amped. There's other songs too, but right off the top of my head, that MOP Annie Up is that.
I mean, because if it's 8 o'clock in the morning and you're hearing someone yell at you like "kidnap that fool," like okay,
yeah.
All right, let's do it.
Let's do it.
Family song. Yeah.
What's yours?
Something about "Welcome to the Terror Dome." To this day, I hear it. I gotta hit the weights or something like, you know, or don't. I hope I'm not on the road when I hear that song, because it's that one still gets dun, 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 and just hearing that, you know, Bomb Squad production, it still gives me goosebumps. So yeah.
Nice.
I mean, of course, there's tons of other ones too, but still.
Yeah, like there's other ones for different types of motivation that you might need, right?
Yeah.
But like I like the first ones that, you know, are off the top of the dome. And in the next month, I've been collecting all of the ones that everyone says, and I made a playlist of everyone's hype songs. And it's a nice, interesting range, you know. Anti-Up comes up a grip of times. Ghostface comes up a grip of times. But then we have some other ones. And I was like, I love listening to that. Last question of the not so rapid fire questions, aka Soil as Hell questions. Bonds, what will be your legacy?
Family man.
These are good questions.
Educator. And someone who documented music history and had a part in music history. So.
Please believe it. Please believe it. Breezy?
I heard people, when they say I'm a good person, I'm like, oh, that's all I want to hear before I go. I was a good person to you. But I've thought about that actually. I feel real good knowing what we've contributed and what we're going to contribute, because I know there's still more that we're going to do. So I know
more stories to tell.
Yeah, I know that. There's so much pride there between me and him and the rest of the Elements family. So knowing that we've contributed to not just LA hip hop, but hip hop culture in general, like that, I'm already happy. So,
and it's pretty dope that you guys, you could be, 20 years from now, you could tell people the story, but you could also be like, oh, and by the way, here's the footage. Like, here's the evidence.
The movie.
Yeah, here's the receipts. Yeah. Before we bone out, what do you want people to get from the film? What is the overall reason why you wanted to get it out and people to watch it?
That gangster rap is not all we're about. That's not all we're about. It's always the first thing that comes to mind with LA hip hop. And that's not all we're about. We have some incredible talent out here besides that. And I'm not putting down gangster rap. I love that shit. We grew up with it. As well as I do, everybody's pretty much gang affiliated out here some way or another. Sure. Whether it's through your family or a friend, whatever. So, we love that stuff too. But I'm like, that's not all we're known for. So I want people to walk away, knowing the names of these artists and knowing the names of Bigga B and knowing the names of Rob One and Dusk. And that's what I want them to walk away, knowing that this is part of it also. It's not just this,
Yeah.
I think for me it's inspiration that, that hopefully a younger generation gets somehow inspired, so the generation that obviously wasn't around, that still loves hip hop. Like you see that B-Boy Summit where you see little kids breakdancing, right? You see it sometimes on DJ videos and the kids like maybe 11 years old and just killing it. Yeah. And what I hope is that everyone can be in the same room again. All the elements of hip hop can actually practice hip hop together. Nowadays, it feels very, you got your DJ competition over here and your spoken word acapella battle rap over here. And you got, so everyone's in different rooms. And the one thing I do cherish about that time was we were all in the same room, loving and practicing hip hop. Yeah. Like the dancers stayed at the end of the night to hear the MC battle, right?
Yeah.
And the MCs came around and they were watching people battle in a circle. There was a mutual love and respect between the elements of hip hop, Yeah. And so I hope there's a little bit of inspiration to younger cats who love hip hop to actually throw their own shows, do their own shit. Because I don't think hip hop's dead. We're still alive. You know what I'm saying?
Please believe it.
I'm still here. So, so hopefully it inspires for others to create the culture.
For sure. And just to see people that look like themselves, Black and brown, people doing shit way back in the days that they weren't even aware of that happened. Yeah. Achieving shit, making shit happen. Seeing you guys have some great interviews of people that were already established at that time. And then we look back and we're like, shit, those are like, veterans in the game. They do interviews and give you guys respect. And we're able to come to the city and be like, yeah, you couldn't come to LA and not do an Element show. It was part of the stops. If you're gonna go to LA, boom, you gotta at that time, you gotta go this way. You gotta make your stops and do all that stuff. So I feel that was also why we emphasized people gotta know who Bigga B was. Yeah. Because of the impact that he had. Right. He was really bridging East Coast and West Coast together. And he was really the first to do it. And I'm like, nobody talks about this brother. Yeah. So, and he's not even here anymore. And so we had to tell it, not just us.
Bringing his son to the pre-screen or the screening that we had. And that was just a whole moment, seeing him and making sure he was there, that kind of thing. So shout out.
Beautiful.
Jason. Yeah.
Wow, man. Well, fellas, I just want to say it was great to see your faces.
Likewise.
It's great to thank you for allowing me to see the film. I can't wait for everyone to see it. Please support. Tell your folks, tell your friends. I'm also interested to see what someone that's not from the scene, but that's like maybe our age bracket, that and what they think of it, you know?
Right.
So far, it's been good feedback.
So far, it's just a hip hop story, just down. Yeah. You don't have to be from LA to enjoy the story. It's just a dope hip hop story.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's a period piece.
It's definitely a period piece, a time capsule, if you will.
A moment in time, special moment in time.
Senores, thank you so much for
thank you so much. Thank you.
Felicidades. I'm so happy for you guys, and I'm so excited for everybody to see your work. It's been a long time coming. And also thanks for everything, for the good times you provided for, this girl that just moved up from Long Beach after school, after college, and was solo in them hip hop streets. And it was a safe, pretty much safe place to go and experience everything.
So
gracias.
Of course. We kind of took a little pride in that too. We were like, we wanted women to come here and not feel like they were going to get, they could walk to their car, or walk to
the bar and not get slid on. And
So elements are, of course you always have that element, but elements itself wasn't that.
Exactly.
But thank you so much. Thank you. Really appreciate it.
For real.
Thanks,
August
guys.
24th. Make sure
August 24th. Streaming on all platforms?
All platforms.
Yes.
Yeah. Apple TV, Amazon, Google Play, Vudu, wherever you rent films or on demand, that's where it'll be at.
iTunes, whatever.
At Apple TV, I would say is my first choice because it's links in the bio. You go right there, Apple TV. So if you go to Elements Doc on Instagram.
If you're on Spotify, make sure you stream Elements. That's what the song is called, Elements.
Elements
produced by Revolution, Planet Asia, or you can get it on iTunes, whatever. It's all up there.
Yep.
Dope. Gracias, guys. Staying competitive in these dynamic times means having the right technology at work for your small or medium-sized business. Whether your goal is to grow, downsize, or modernize, Panoply BPO provides the right combination of tools, support, and affordability necessary to make it a reality. Visit panoplybpo.com. That's PANOPLYBPO.com to schedule your no-obligation consultation today. Mention WTYM and get your 13th month of service for free. PanoplyBPO.com. There is a better way. And now, introducing
the Supernatural Bear Corner. Supernatural Bear. What's up, everyone? It's me, SNB16, and today, for some very special people whose names I forgot. What are they? What are they?
DJ Bonds and DJ Breeze.
DJ Bonds and DJ Breeze. Mad apologies, guys. They actually went to, I believe it was elementary school with my dad, who is coming up soon because it's almost 1 year. And, this very nice lady's brother-in-law, or, as we like to call him in the fam, Brother Bud. Anyway, don't want to get too off topic. They're really cool peeps. Check them out. And, this has been SMP16.
Show be done. Yeah. There you have it, folks. Episode 41, Word to Your Mama, DJ Bronze, DJ Breeze. Where We're From, A Rise of LA Underground Hip Hop, The Elements documentary. You got little BTS. here today. Make sure you rent, you stream it on all platforms. Tell your peeps, tell your friends. It's rare that we have those times documented in such a way. So again, gracias to them, gracias to everyone involved, and R.I.P. to all those that we have lost. Thanks again for supporting and for listening. The Supernatural Bear, he was mentioning his Papa Bear and how his Papa Bear is going to be on here soon. He's been super hyped. Next month's going to be the 1 year anniversary of when I launched during the pandemic. And his Papa Bear agreed to be a guest. So that should be interesting to say the least. If you have any questions, any beefs, any, things to say, hit us up at hola@wordtoyourmama.com. We are on all socials at WTYMAMA. That's WTY Mama. And also, don't forget to leave a review. That's how peeps get a hold of us. That's how peeps find out about us. So don't forget, tell your folks, tell your friends, and always, we reap. Word to Your Mama is owned and produced by R.I.P. The intro is produced by Nico Beats. If you want to get a hold of us and see other things, all there is to know, go to wordtoyourmama.com. And as always, Word to Your Mama is brought to you by ritzyperiwinkle.com and Panoply BPO